Hi, I'm Beth Parkinson, and today it is my privilege to introduce you to my new friend, Lucy Bunce. Lucy is an incredibly talented musician, but she's also hugely passionate about bringing people into the presence of God, sharing His love and His presence with them. So, Lucy, there is actually sat next to you quite a big hint to the kind of music you might like to play. But would you just tell us a little bit more about yourself and actually that beautiful instrument that sits right next to you?
Yes, thank you so much, Beth. It's so lovely to be here today. Thank you for inviting me. Yes, this is indeed my beautiful harp, which I absolutely love. Here we are. And I'm a harpist and a singer and a songwriter, worship leader, and I'm based in the beautiful city of Cambridge, England.
That's fantastic. So you obviously you taught music as well, but something that I know that you're also passionate about is the 24/7 prayer movement. And you've actually got a Cambridge hub that you are not just involved with, but actually you head that up over there, don't you?
Yes, that's right, Cambridge House of Prayer, which is something that's very much developed during the lockdown. We felt God really say to us, just do it. So starting probably back at the end of the summer, we've got a whole routine of worship and prayer online, which people can join us for if they would like to.
Wow. I'd love to see. It's one of the things I have loved about lockdown is actually the creativity that's been released in new ways as people say, hey, you know what, I'm not going to let things hold me back. I'm still going to reach out. I'm still going to use my talents and my gifts to bless other people, to create community in a time when actually communities really shrunk for a lot of people. Now, one of the things that I know about you as well is that you write blessing songs for people. You use those gifts of songwriting, your singing and your music playing, and you combine those to create beautiful songs. So, can you tell us a little bit more? Like, what does that look like for you? What kind of is that something that just came from an overflow, or did somebody first just request that from you, maybe?
Well, the first one I actually wrote was over a year ago now. And a friend of mine, her dear son was very fearful at bedtime. And so bedtimes were just lasting for hours and hours and hours because he was so afraid of being on his own. So a friend of mine, we went to their house while the little boy was at school. I took the harp and really just with the idea of playing in the room, just bringing the peace of God, praying for him and so on. And then we were going weekly for a little bit of time. And I thought, actually, what I need to do is I need to write a blessing. And so the blessing, it had things like the meaning of his name. So declaring who he was, that he actually wasn't fearful, that, you know, God said this about him. And the blessing reminded him that God's love surrounded him. And so initially I just played it in the room and the mum recorded it. And when she felt ready, she actually played it to her son. And I think now he often will go to sleep with that blessing playing. And we printed it out and we put it over the door of the bedroom. So it was just really just declaring the goodness of God in a very practical way. And I think once you put that into a song, you know, it remains in the consciousness. So
Mm.
I think almost his spirit would be reminding him of that, even when he wasn't always aware. So it was an extraordinary privilege. And the mum said it's made a huge difference. So then, of course, I wrote a blessing for the sister as well, because I suddenly thought, oh my goodness, this is no good.
Oh,
I want them to know that God blesses them both equally. And again, just looking at the meaning of somebody's name and weaving that into a song and asking the Holy Spirit, you know, what do you want to say over them? I think it's extraordinarily powerful.
gosh, that is such a beautiful way of this whole thing coming about. Now, the reason that we're actually talking today is that actually one of these blessings is started off small, started off on that kind of that individual personal blessing, and it's going nationwide. Now, some people may have even watched this today, but can you tell us about the story of this song that you've written, which is the blessing the hands that bless?
Yeah, that's right. My NHS Blessing, which, as you said, started so small. I have a dear friend who runs something called Doctors for Doctors up at Adam Brooks Hospital in Cambridge, which is an organisation that supports medics as they do the amazing job that they do. She's a fellow musician, but she knew that I was writing blessings, so she just said, "Oh, could you just write a blessing for the hospital?" So I literally did that, and at this time I didn't have any decent microphone or anything, so I just recorded it on my iPad and just sent it across to her. and she's used it in some of her groups there. And that was it. So, and I thought really that was the end of it. But of course, once we got to the second and third lockdowns and hearing about what it was like in a hospital for many of our amazing NHS staff, I just thought, wouldn't it be amazing if that blessing got further out there? So I got in contact with Chris, who runs a recording studio in Reading, and just said, do you think we can make a recording in lockdown? It's not easy to do because I was here and he was there. I had blankets over my piano trying to soften down all the hard surfaces, but we did do it and we turned it around in 24 hours. He's done an amazing job, actually. It sounds really beautiful. He's made me sound like I'm in King's College Chapel, not in my music room here. So it came out as a single, and then since then has just generated some lovely media interest, which has been fantastic. So it's been at the end of Ali Jones's podcast, on Radio 2, on local radio, and of course the Songs of Praise, which is just so fantastic. But wow. I think more encouraging than that, I've been sent photos of nurses and doctors taking that moment to reflect and pause and to listen to the blessing in the middle of their day. I had a lovely photo from a friend, Tanya, who listened with a friend actually before her shift started. And she said, until that point, the phones had been going bananas, and they listened together. And for the 3 minutes of the song, the phone stopped, and it was this extraordinary moment. And when I wrote it, I was thinking, bless the hands that bless. You know, these people need to receive because they are just giving out so much. So it was written with that heart, just to declare the goodness of God over everybody in NHS.
Oh, it's such a beautiful story. Your heart for this, I'm just tingling all over hearing about it, because I've seen the photos. I've gone and, done the usual thing where I'm like, right, let's find everything out, and seen some of these photos of people sat with their hands open, listening to this song and receiving from heaven.
They're very poignant, aren't they?
My gosh, they're just so beautiful. And as you say, we know.
He loves to do that, doesn't he? To use that music to give that spacious place, that moment to breathe. It may only be 3 minutes, but I think in the spirit, it can feel a lot longer.
Oh, definitely. And it's bringing rest. And it is that thing you've said before, that music is really powerful and it speaks to our spirits, but it opens us up and takes us into the place of heaven. We were created to worship. So being in that environment of worship literally takes us to the feet of our loving Father. It takes us right into his presence. And we all know, many of us will either know somebody who is be related, know somebody, or know of somebody who is working in the NHS in some capacity, working in healthcare, either as a doctor, a nurse, any kind of, and all the kind of the para facilities that are needed, all of those jobs, and the amount of stress that they're under is massive. Now, I know that because I'm going to want to, but I know that people are going to want to share this with their friends, with those people that they know. So tell people today, we will put a link for anybody that's wanting just to click on that link, but can you tell us where people can find you and access this song?
Well, I'm on all types of social media, so you can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook. My website is lucybunce.com. The song itself, Bless the Hands That Bless, is on all streaming platforms. But if you can't find it, if you go to my website, there would be a link that would take you straight there.
Oh, that's fantastic. So as I say, I know so many people that are going to be really, really blessed by this. I was listening to it and really encouraged, really blessed myself. And it's not even designed for me, So it just, how much more so is that blessing going to be used? Something that you said while we were just chatting before was the fact that God had used what you could do because you couldn't be a medic. You're not trained in medicine, but you were able to use what God had blessed you with. And I think that is something that is really, you can really feel as you're listening to this song, that actually you have engaged with the gifting that God has given you and let him do the rest. And for me, that is why this song has had such an impact. This is why it's going to go so far, because you've literally said, here, God, it's like, use me. Here's my loaves and fishes. This is what I have. Like, this isn't going to heal anybody in and of itself, but it could heal a heart. It could give rest and peace to a soul. So we mentioned briefly as well that you're involved in prayer. Now, as things open up, we're in that strange interim season, but there's obviously going to be more that people can engage with you. So at the moment you said you're doing online services, that people can get in touch with you. You do some online lessons and things as well. But tell us, I bet you seem like a very creative person. You are an incredibly creative person. Tell us, what ideas do you have up your sleeve as we go through into the summer and out of lockdown?
Well, with Cambridge House of Prayer, we've been developing this style of worship, which very much combines the sort of harp and bowl, literally the harp and bowl, but worship with scripture, with song, with improvisation. And so we're looking to put together a package where we could come to your church for the day, and it would be a retreat with Cambridge House of Prayer at your church for the day. So there'll be details about that on the website. And then, of course, as things open up, we will be hopefully at David's Tent at the end of the summer. There will be other conferences. Of course, it's just a little bit early at the moment to have definite plans. And I certainly will go back to gigging and performing as I did in the past once we're able to do so.
Oh, that's brilliant. So it's very much a watch this space, but also get engaged, because there is definitely going to be something for you. If you've been touched by Lucy's music, then please do get in touch. Leave comments underneath. I know that Lucy would love to read them. She's going to be tagged in this, so she's going to get all the notifications coming up.
That I do actually, if people wanted to commission a blessing from me as a special gift for someone. For example, a friend of mine, on the day of her ordination, I wrote her a blessing to remember that occasion. So that is something else that is
that's fantastic. So people can go to your website, and just as you wrote that blessing for your friend's son and then her daughter, just as you wrote this blessing for your friend's ordination, and then for your friend who was a doctor, but also this one that's gone nationwide, it's possible. It's people can engage with this, and actually they can commission a blessing themselves. That is such a lovely thing. So do head to the website. You can do that too. That would be such a meaningful gift, such a beautiful personal gift for a friend, for a loved one. Definitely, I'd highly recommend that.
Song, because the song won't change, but as you go through life, your relationship with the song will change. I think it's quite an interesting thing to reflect on. My friend who was a vicar, I felt the Spirit say, you need to call it friend of God, because she is a friend of God, but what she's going to do through her ministry is to make other friends of God. But and it's got bits of scripture in as well. So I think it'll be interesting in 10 years time or 20 years time how she perceives that song and as it journeys through her life with her.
Oh, that's so true. I know that even now I can listen to a piece of music that I heard several years ago, and there's part of me that travels back to that moment and specific key events that happened in my life with a song. I remember specific songs when my husband and I first got together. I remember the song when we first danced. I remember some songs that we planned for the playlist when my daughter was born, and it was mostly 80s music. I'm not going to lie. It was going to be a party. It's going to be great. But also worship songs that I've done battle, not with them, but them as my soundtrack, them as the force behind me, that I've been able to use the words of those songs when I've not had words to pray myself. So music really is such a powerful tool in the hands of God's people. And I love that you're equipping people with that tool. You are giving them their own personalized tool to enter the presence of Jesus, but also to equip them as they go through different stages of their life. Lucy, you're an incredible person.
If you sing, you pray twice. I think there is something in that, isn't there?
Oh, I like that.
It reaches all sorts of depths that if you were just speaking it potentially wouldn't, I think.
Oh, that yes, definitely. I think it does carry deeper. Definitely does. Oh, Lucy, thank you so much. You have blessed my heart so much by being here with me today. And I'm sure that everybody that is going to watch this interview is going to be so blessed. So I would encourage people, again, go and look at Lucy's website, lucybunce.com, and you can find all the information that you need in the information on this post, all the links that you needed, things like that. Lucy, it has been an honor and a privilege to meet you today. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to see more content like this, like and subscribe and ring the bell to receive notifications.